So we have the curse of last panel now. So I promise to keep it, we will all promise to keep it short and sweet and mainly practical. Because we will start with the title of this panel, and we're going to say that AI is in every conversation right now. Beyond the hype, we have to acknowledge that most businesses and organizations do not start from zero. They have legacy systems. They have to adapt to the new reality. So I would like to start to ask you, each one of you, in your opinion, what are the most significant challenges for an established organization, for a company that wants to begin its AI journey? And I will also award you bonus points for personal experiences about this subject. So, Anas, let's start with you, okay?
Thank you, first of all. It's a very interesting question. It's very difficult to actually adopt AI unless you really deep dive into what the situation looks like. And look at various companies in various domains. One can easily tell that technology is not really the problem, that the data is. When we're talking about AI, we're talking about something which is data hungry, let's call it that way. Because actually you have AI and it's building data out of data and information out of data. So if you look at various regulatory, heavily regulated industries like banking, like fintech, like real world for them, you see that you have different systems built, let's say, 10s or 20 or many years ago, let's say, or even modern ones, but they're isolated. And you have data across all those subsystems that are not consistent. They're not necessarily talking to each other in a proper way. And then you have another layer on top of that, which is regulation. We heard about it before. And it's not really allowing you to share information, and it's not very easy for you to derive into proper, meaningful outcome. So the main issue here is, which is probably fair, that regulation does not allow, probably for a good reason, to share this information. So you have silos, you have unshared data, unshared information, and fragmented information. So you see things like relying on a core banking system in our side, or KYC, or different government portal information, and you cannot really share it. So it's a common thing that you have the technology, you may have the ways of applying it, but you cannot properly apply it because of all those constraints. Now, we, for example, are working with banks. And banks, they want to be ahead of the competition. Each one of them wants to offer proper personalized experience, but you don't have proper, let's say, edge cases. So you may have tens of thousands of cases which are normal, but the black swan lies there, and you cannot really, have proper models to test against this thing. So it is a challenge. We have really great technology. We have really great models, but sometimes it's really difficult to apply it in established businesses.
Yeah, very clear. I will keep what we have to break the silos in a way in many organizations. Manolis?
Yeah. Okay, so...
Is it open?
Yeah, I think it's...
Yeah.
So, to my point of view, there are three things, and I would definitely agree on the data aspects of the constraints that we see. It's not even easy to consider what type of data you can see in legacy systems, multiple systems having different types of data structured in different ways. So the different way that the data are structured, that is definitely one of the things that we would see. Having data that are clear, consistent in a way that could be reused within a data set, or could be used as inputs to agents. It's definitely one of the things. The second thing that I would consider is the integration difficulty, the integration challenge. So having legacy systems that need to be integrated somehow to other systems that may be AI-based or not even AI-based. It's definitely one of the things that we see as a challenge. And the third thing that we also see as a challenge is the part that is related to the human factor itself. So mindset is one of the things that we see as a difficulty there, and we need to tackle that in order to be able to proceed with those type of AI initiatives.
Thank you for pointing that out. It's something that we'll circle back to. Sorry, Dimitris.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So first of all, you can ask your teacher at school that did physics, and they will tell you that creation always creates chaos, and we must be comfortable with the fact that there is a little bit of chaos around, and I don't think it's very wise to try to find playbooks about chaos. No, we must accept that there is a little bit of a chaotic situation.
Embrace the chaos.
Number one. Number two, when we face the unknown, although history does not repeat itself, it's time to take our lessons learned from the most recent similar situation. In my humble opinion, the most recent similar situation is the introduction of the web. I started my career in 2000, 22 years old back then, and there were companies like struggling, what shall we exactly do now? What do you mean? Shall we send this thing by email? No signature, a contract? What do you mean? How can this be? It's very similar. There are many analogies. Only the impact will be larger and the pace will be faster. But the analogies are there. What is the best thing to do in order to really help your organization navigate in this uncharted territory? First of all, be open-minded. Not a nice time not to be open-minded. And invest in education for all of your people as much as you can. I mean, I cannot emphasize enough. You need both top-down strategies of the company, of course, but you need to empower all of your team, from the secretary, from the receptionist to the CEO, to give them the practical AI skills so they can really navigate in this territory. I will conclude with the following. I remember, the problem with the AI transition is the machine learning engineer. I studied computer science. There's a good friend of mine from the university here, so I admire machine learning engineers. But in the real transition, they are the problem. Similarly, that the network engineer was the problem in the transition to the web. That those people who create, it's very difficult, something that you created, to really see getting a life of its own, and going beyond you. This is exactly what's happening now. The web took a life of its own. Are network engineers the most important people in the web of today? I'm afraid they are not. And the machine learning engineers will not be the most important people. They created this new thing, and they have to admire it grow a life of its own.
So we don't also have to gatekeep it in a way, let's say.
Sooner or later, like happened in the web, regulations will come, it will be strict. I'm a very passionate European federalist, and there is this nice joke that America innovates, China replicates, and Europe regulates. Okay? So we can do better than that. We can do better than that.
Stelios.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Stelios Velis. I'm the Chief Data and Resource. Let me say two sentences about the company because our perspective is quite different and it's very interesting. So, Otesia is an AI-led technology, financial technology platform that empowers its enterprise customers, mostly mobile network operators, to offer financial services, primarily lending. At the moment, we are the biggest mobile lender in the world. We have 300 million new customers per year. We lend like $13 million per day. We're an AI company. We're not a legacy company that sees how to integrate AI in existing operations. I was founded last 12 years ago. But I believe there are three important challenges that both companies with AI at their core, companies that develop AI, and companies that use AI, have to overcome. The first one is value. It needs to be a use case that will deliver value. Otherwise, it will not stay alive. Either the first one or the second one, it needs to deliver value, a use case that with AI will deliver value, either through a new product or by automating an existing service or with agentic AI that is very common. Secondly, and it was mentioned, data. Right. Without data, without correct data, AI cannot work. Third, there needs to be the right environment and, of course, in terms of culture, as was mentioned, but also technically. There needs to be a very good experimentation environment. So whether it is business people trying to automate the process through AI, or whether it is a machine learning engineer trying to build a model for a new product, there needs to be an environment that allows them to experiment a lot. And if someone succeeds in overcoming these three challenges, then the AI initiative will be successful.
Thank you for that. And it's a subject that almost all of you touched. The thing is, adopting AI is not about technology and infrastructure. It's about people. It's also about culture. How important is it to have a culture of innovation within your organization to encourage the adoption of AI-driven processes? And how do someone ensures that everyone in the organization, from the engineer to the product people to the marketing to everyone, is on board on this process? Let's start with you, Manolis.
Yeah, so the important thing, of course, is to have some type of front runners. So innovation is important, you must have some front runners, but there is always fear of innovation, there is always fear of changes. So AI is no different from the original changes that we had 10 years or 20 years or 40 years or 100 years ago. So you must be able to accommodate this type of fear, this type of reluctance to change in a way that will include people. So you need the front runners, you need to ensure that everybody gets involved in order to understand why we're doing this, what's in it for them. So to my point of view, and coming from an academic environment with an education institution, if you have a broad team of different disciplines from different departments, this may get people that are front runners and more reluctant people or people that are afraid of this type of change into the same room, trying for the same type of initiative. Each one of them would propose their own initiatives that would benefit from this type of technologies, like AI-powered technologies. And that will be a facilitator for this type of innovation that we're talking about. So bringing them all together into a common team, trying to see which are the pain points that they have in their everyday routine, and trying to solve them through this type of technology, through this type of initiatives, might be the right way of introducing this type of innovation to the organization.
Thank you very much. Thanasis, your opinion?
Well, it's difficult. Actually, I heard before that from I think the advisor of the Prime Minister that the AI adoption is around 9.5% in Greece, right? I tend to believe that most of the companies or most individuals do adopt AI more or less for their personal lives. When it comes to business applicability, then we have probably a different perspective. And there are many reasons that this may fail, especially about culture. I agree that we have to train, we have to embrace, we have to really push for testing, for innovation, really give the room to people to test new things. But there's also human nature. And human nature is not about resistance in change, it's also another element. And I have seen that. So imagine that you have somebody who was a manager, senior manager, and in the past they would probably command, I don't know, 100 or 150 people, and they had a budget for that. So it was an army of people. And nowadays, you can really improve efficiency, you can improve productivity by introducing various AI models, as you are probably doing, or as we are doing things. And suddenly, this person is not that much relevant anymore. So, in the short term, their first reaction will be no. Why? Because this is taking a lot of my power, self-power, or my drive. Now, this is helpful, no. But it is a reality that we have to face. And now, I think that all companies, all enterprises that have benefit to improve productivity, to improve efficiency, to create value, and everybody's driving for that, they have to really reward outcomes versus budget versus anything else. So if we really understand and push every single individual within the organization, that irrespective of whether they use AI, people, whatever, if they create value, that will make sense for them as well, as individuals, as a collective organization, I think that's the driving power. So for me, the main thing is, yes, training, but I assume that most people, nowadays, they do have some sort of, let's say, reliance on AI, on personal things. But if we consider they're trained enough, then we have to collectively drive them, energize them, mandate them to use AI or use technology in order to improve productivity and create value for the organization.
Thank you. Stelios?
Yes, so again I will provide a different perspective, the perspective of the AI core company. There is another problem from setting everyone behind AI and support. In our company and in most AI product companies, people are eager to try something new. Actually, there is a healthy competition, but I will do it or I will do it or something. They're always after trying something new. And the problem most of the times has been how to channel this energy in the right direction and how to motivate everyone, the data engineer, the data quality assurance, the machine learning engineer, the portfolio manager, to actually try something new that will most likely deliver value, and it's very relevant. So it's how to channel this energy.
Thank you. Dimitris?
Okay, trying to keep it very simple. First of all, if you manage or if you work for a company where it is not okay to fail, to create new knowledge and to share your failure and the new knowledge with other colleagues so they don't have to fail as well, you will be in trouble pretty soon. So just do this assessment. And after enjoying a beautiful afternoon and evening today, I would advise you tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, to look at the org chart of your organization. Is it crystal clear who is, where is the role of the person with the single responsibility of AI enablement across the whole organization, from receptionist to CEO? That must be a very clear role, either C-level or VP, like a very powerful person in the organization with this single mandate to make sure that every job in the company is AI accelerated, but don't fall into the trap. It's not only about acceleration, it's about augmentation. And AI augmented, people will do more things. And as a conclusion, there is a timeless law of management that people respect what is expected of them. The new North Star is the effective output per person. Make sure your organization really counts the effective output per person and make sure that keeps increasing with using AI.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. So we set the stage, let's say, from both to questions. I think it's time now to prioritize. And I would like to ask all of you, what do you see as the biggest challenge, not only now, but in 5 years' time, for integrate AI and cloud solutions into the enterprise function? What advice would you give to other leaders who are just beginning this journey to adopt AI? Let's start with Stelios.
Yes, in 3 words, keep up to the pace of development. Right, we see many innovations come to the market, and recently the LLMs that are currently revolutionizing the way many companies deliver business and deliver value. So over the next 5 or 10 years, many things will change, the algorithms will improve, there will be new business cases, new startups, new companies, and a established company needs to keep up with this pace, definitely. It needs to invest, either it's an AI product company or an AI using company. And speaking from the experience at Otesia that we started like 10 years ago, developing credit scoring models, and now we do credit decisions with AI, very complex problem, but at the scale we operate there is not very high. It needs to be a constant improvement and a constant challenge to develop better models or do better use cases and so on with AI.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
To my very good friend,
Yes.
because I just hear you saying about companies that develop AI in a way and companies that use AI. While I totally understand why you say that and where you come from, I'd like to challenge it. In which way? To the best of my knowledge, OpenAI uses ChatGPT to develop OpenAI, and Anthropic uses Claude to develop the tools. So I'm just thinking broadly and very creatively to make it interactive. Will this distinction be here after 3 years or not? What do you think?
I think it will be. It will be because the advancement is so big that if we look now at the ChatGPT model, there are many companies that actually use ChatGPT. They add a layer in between the enterprise, and they do agents. They do agents, for example, that provide SQL queries for querying the database of the company. So I think this will stay, I don't know, 10 years after, but 3 years after, yes. And it's a quite healthy ecosystem now, and quite busy and popular ecosystem, actually using ChatGPT to add a layer for third companies to use this information to deliver value in the use cases like some automations in code development, or in our business, some AI agent for collections, loans, etc.
Okay, thank you. So let's take with you, Dimitris. What do you think? What do you see as the biggest challenge going forward?
The biggest challenge, again, I will repeat myself, is always people. And there is an external challenge, which is the bubble, the over-expectation and the greed. Don't fool yourselves. We are in one of the biggest bubbles ever, if not the biggest, which is not bad necessarily. The bubble is good if you read the bubble. And the web, again, was a huge bubble. But the web created all the companies that define our reality today. So it's an absolute certainty that AI will be defining, Gen AI to be precise, and the new thing that will come, will be defining our lives like 10 years onwards. However, we have not yet seen the impact of the bubble. So, what I'm afraid is human nature. And human nature is defined by greed and envy. So when you see all those crazy, insane rounds, mostly on the other side of the Atlantic, but a little bit in Europe as well, that will push people to do things that are beyond reality. And that will backfire. Investors will lose money, jobs will be lost. But how can you say in English that το ποτάμι δεν γυρνάει πίσω? No, I mean, we cannot, water cannot go back, right? We are moving ahead. But the single biggest challenge is the impact. So when these people, when the level of the grid will be, when we will understand how much over expectation has been invested in the stock markets, basically, then that will be like a strong pushback. But things finally will go forward. That's my opinion.
So let's hope that we'll find the equilibrium sooner than later. So
I don't know if we want sooner or later. I would prefer later.
You would prefer later, okay. Okay. So Manolis.
Yeah. It's a very interesting question. And I already had two very interesting answers. So it's really significant for me to give another point of view. To my understanding, there are three levels of challenges. Today, it's governance, and it's also the data governance that we talked about. Governance about who has the responsibility of building this type of initiatives or working on those type of initiatives, and data governance related to how we work with the foundation of these initiatives in a technical manner. Starting from today and for the next couple of years, the next challenge for me will be skills. Upskilling and reskilling our people in order to be able to exploit the potential of AI and whatever this brings with that, either a bubble or not. It's the next challenge. And then, in 5 years' time, and this is the most important thing for me, is the challenge of scaling up. And the challenge of scaling up means that for today, there might be 2, 3, 10, 30 different AI-related initiatives, which could cause the creation of, 30, 50 AI agents. But imagine the time, in 5 years' time, when we have 100 or 1,000 different agents, and we cannot control them, because they're doing this thing on their own, and there are not enough people to control that the output is there, it's correct, it's accurate, it's timely, and it's reliable. So what's going to happen there? So the challenge there would be to have some sort of procedure, mechanism, or mentality that could control that in a reliable way, in a responsible way. So if I could just give it a title, for 5 years from now, it will be responsible AI. This is my major challenge in 5 years' time.
Thank you very much. Onassis?
Well, it technically is a very difficult question to predict the future and the challenges. I think one of the main challenges is indeed human nature, in the sense that we tend to become, there's fatigue in people. So you use something, you're enthusiastic about it, then down the line you run a prototype. It's very difficult to streamline, industrialize, and do stuff like that. Now, there's a lot of hype, of course. We just mentioned that there's probably a bubble and expectations about what AI can do. Some people consider it as a technology thing, which is normal. As technology grows, innovates, and stuff like that, it's very normal to have things like exponential growth through AI. And some other people think that you just adopt a model or a technology or something, and suddenly you plug and play, and there you go. Well, that's not really work like that. And you have a lot of applications that are not properly utilizing those things. Now, if you think that you have solved your problem, but just because you have a perfect model, then probably you're having an issue and you're investing or putting your eggs in the wrong basket. Now, this is the main challenge. The other thing is, there's a lot of expectation and a lot of people that have built or designed products or designed things for problems that do not really exist anymore. So you have a lot of out there, you have a lot of, let's say, fogginess and clarity of where the things are being driven at the moment. So the main challenge is uncertainty for me, human nature, human nature, and another thing that is really, really difficult is on which side of this world you live. So if you're in a heavily regulated area, and we mentioned that Europe is one of those areas, or you are in another, let's say, continent, or in a place where it's favorable to innovate or to introduce things in AI and ethics are on a different level, a different scale, then there's an imbalance. And this imbalance can really play a role, which I hope that people who are in government policy or in the cabinet will appreciate and try to solve it.
Thank you very much. Having said all of that, let's assume that I take the role of a small business owner or a medium enterprise owner, and I see what's happening with AI. I'm tech savvy, I want to adopt it, I want to be on this. I see the hype, I even see a bubble, and I don't know what is, the real challenges or the real opportunities for me. So I come to you for advice. So I want to give me one piece of advice. It's to me as a business owner who has a legacy system, who has operations undergoing, what's one piece of advice that will give to me that I want to start my AI and cloud transformation? Let's start with Dimitris.
That it is the best possible time for you. I think really AI, practical AI in particular, is, it's heaven for small and medium businesses. But you need to go beyond stereotypes. Now it's the time to make things. I will answer with an example. How many here remember what a startup weekend was? Has anyone been in a startup weekend?
Let's see hands. No.
Gathering on Friday and working until Sunday evening to supposedly create a company, but the company was basically a PowerPoint deck, right? So now...
We call it hackathons now.
No, it's not really hackathons. Yeah. We shall call it replithon because we like replics. But there are... So what we will do, and people abroad already do it, is that they gather on Friday, and on Sunday, they have a product with real revenue from real customers. This used to be the definition of the impossible. And that now happens, twice on weekdays, 3 times on Sunday. That's the new reality. It is, it is the era of the makers, it is the era of the entrepreneur. Now is the time to break things. Now is the time to make risks. And without being an economist, as an amateur economist, if we don't do that as a society, we shall find ourselves in a big trouble. Because a large percentage of the jobs will be lost. What was the last time you went to your neighborhood's travel agency to buy an airplane ticket? I guess not very recent. Many jobs will be lost, and they have to be lost. Those people will be the new entrepreneurs. And I think we shall see entrepreneurs across all of the age spectrum. So, put your skills on Lovable, on Replit, on Kersor, on whatever you like, and now is the time to make things. If you adopt this mindset, fantastic news for you. If not, I'm not very happy.
Thank you. Manolis?
So yeah, I was trying to find one word as one single piece of advice. So the most compact thing that I could think of is create responsible AI. I've used this word in the previous question you made, but perhaps if we see the definition of responsible AI within the ISO 42001, it will state that you must have some type of objectives. So this means that you must be able, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, define what are the use cases that you want to build on. So this is important. You must be able to say how you're going to do it. So design it properly, try to find the proper data sets. This must be reliable and all the things that we have already mentioned. You must be able to find the right people to accommodate the whole operations and the whole procedures in order to run this business. So data on their own or system on their own, technology on their own, won't do the job. You just need to integrate them with people, and you need to keep them at the same level as they need to run the whole thing and build it at the same time. And it's also important to somehow assure that the whole thing runs smoothly. So you must have some type of conformance with the standards or a framework that will mandate how this thing should work. And we heard about the needs that the regulatory framework has. IACT might be one of the things, the most representative example of this. There might be other things like procedural requirements, like the ISO standard mandates, and there might be also technical requirements like the OWASP testing guides for AI systems or whatever the list brings to the table for the technical requirements. But yeah, if it was just one simple phrase, it would be use responsible AI, start with a solid use case, and build it from that point.
Thank you very much. Thanasis? I'm waiting for your advice. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I think that whichever time you look in history, it's always the same. You have to embrace the change. Now, the pace of the change is probably faster nowadays, but every single moment in history was faster than it was before. So the good news is you have now the tools, or you have more tools, and to build faster and to challenge, test, and fail faster. So make use of it, but embrace the change. And that's the main thing I would urge anyone here to do, or anywhere else. That technology is not just a tool, but it runs through your whole body, your organization, your whole life. But use it carefully and embrace the change.
Thank you. Stelios?
The fact that every single advice was different, mine will be different, so it's a good group of advices.
It's a collective wisdom, so
yeah,
it's
value. Find the use case that will deliver value, even with a simple automation within a company, even if there is a value, it will survive. Right. So the time is now, responsible AI, draft change, and also find the value, find the use case that will deliver value, and then there will be another one.
Thank you very, very much. I don't know if you have any questions.
I have a few, but in the interest of time, we can make it a bit faster. So I'll start with one that's very interesting, actually. So you've got 1 million budget to make legacy systems AI ready. How would you split it between governance, cleanup, integration layer, infrastructure, GPU, talent, and why?
The $1 million question, who's going to answer that?
First thing you have to get right is data. Right? If you don't get right data, there will not be AI. So if this is got right, then there are options to save budget from there, and the other point, then you can go to the cloud, you can do something on-prem, okay, but the largest deal of the investment needs to be data, and in the past, and especially before 2020 and after 2022, we saw many companies where AI is failed because the data were not right.
Anything to add? Anyone?
+1 for data.
For data, okay. Okay, so I would like, it's okay? Okay, I would like to thank you very much for the discussion. I would also like to thank you very much, and let's give a round of applause to our speakers. Thank you.